Hi, everyone, and thank you for watching this brief video for your mini project. What I'd like to do is spend just a few minutes and review the answers for you. Not only give you the answers, but the reason why. So first things first, as an HR professional, it's absolutely important that you know how to classify an employee. This is where people get in trouble. This is where businesses get in trouble. They want to make everyone a salary position because it's easy to do and it's easy on the budget. But honestly, there are very few positions that qualify for a salaried position. The law clearly states that you must pay people hourly wage and they have to be paid overtime unless they qualify for an exemption. And so qualifying for the exemption is actually quite difficult. Let's go ahead and take a quick look. So rule of thumb, pay them an hourly wage, you'll never get sued. So the first one is a business development manager. So this employee will be going to potential customers and requesting their business. So uh, the first thing you do is you go to the fact sheet. Now, we also know that every position is being paid $40,000 annually. So that's important to know as well. So according to the fact sheet, in order to be exempt from a an hourly wage, the person has to make at least $35,568. So what does that mean? That means if someone offers you a position for $35,000 salary, guess what? They're breaking the law. It has to be $35,568 and not a penny less. That's why you see a lot of jobs starting. The starting salary is at $36,000 these days. All right, so this person is making 40,000. So they automatically qualify for the weekly or the annual salary, and that's great. But just because they're making over $35,568 doesn't necessarily mean they get to be paid a salary. Again, I talked about nurses last week. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the different types of positions that qualify for this. So first of all, we have executives, administrative exemptions, professionals, computers, professionals, and then outside sales, and then highly compensated employees. So an outside sales exemption basically means in order to qualify for this, the following tests must be met. So the employee's primary duties must be making sales calls, and they must be customarily and regularly engaged away from the employer's place of business. Well, if you look here, the employee will be going to potential customers and requesting their business. So they're going to be engaged in away from the office activities. So therefore, they can qualify and they are exempt. So they can be paid a salary. To be honest with you, a lot of salespeople not only are paid a salary, but they're also paid a commission, a little motivator to get that business, close the business, and get more revenue in, right? So the next one is an administrative assistant. And I will tell you 99% of the time, administrative assistants should always be paid hourly. Now, there are exceptions. Sometimes when you get to the upper level of management, executive level, CEO level, VP level, some of the assistants are paid salary, but 99% of the time, an administrative assistant should be paid hourly. Let's go ahead and take a look. So this employee will greet visitors, answer phones, and order supplies as needed. So this is a non-exempt employee or an hourly. So in order to qualify, we can look at the different types of positions, but this person does not qualify. You might have gone to the administrative exemption. Just because the title has the word administrative in it doesn't necessarily mean it qualifies for that exemption. Listen, I can tack a VP of rockstar quality onto someone, and that doesn't necessarily make them an executive. It all comes down to the job duties. We'll talk about job duties in a little bit, I think in a few weeks. But at the end of the day, titles mean absolutely nothing. It's all about the job responsibilities. So in order to qualify for administrative assistant, or excuse me, no, administrative exemption, you have to have the following. We know that the position has to pay $35,568, which it does, so check. All right, the employee's primary duties must perform office or non-manual work directly related to the management or general business operations of the employer. Maybe, that's a maybe. And then the last one is the primary duties include the exercise of discretion and independent judgment with respect to matters of significance. So all of these must be met, all three of them. Unfortunately, as I don't want to discredit any administrative assistants out there, but this particular administrative assistant in this job does not exercise any sort of discretion or independent judgment with respect of matters of significance. Now, I'm not saying answering the phones and ordering supplies is not important, but it wouldn't qualify for an exemption, as many would see that greeting visitors, answering phones, and ordering supplies is not a matter of significance. So that is non-exempt. All right, so a manufacturing manager, that is a salaried position or exempt. Well, this employee has 10 direct reports, ensures the manufacturing process is adhered to, also has the authority to hire and fire. So this person can qualify for an exemption or a salary because of the executive exemption. Now, again, they have the title of manager, doesn't necessarily mean they qualify. They're not an executive, they are a manager, but in this case, they are qualifying because of the following. First of all, they're making at least that $35,568. And then the employee's primary duty is managing the enterprise, right? The department or the division. The employee must customarily and regularly direct the work of at least 2 or more. So they have 10 subordinates. And then last, they must have the authority to hire and fire. And so the manufacturing manager has all of those and therefore is exempt from overtime. The salesperson here is a non-exempted position. Now, I know a lot of salespeople could qualify for exemption based on their job duties. But if you just look at this particular one, because I know lots of salespeople out there and they don't necessarily travel, but they qualify for other reasons. They might qualify for the administrative or the executive, even though their primary duties are sales. If they qualify for administrative, for instance, typically that's where they qualify for, is under that. But this job description, not talking about outside, talking about this one basically says, hey, they're going to work for the business development manager. They're going to just make some phone calls and attempt to secure new customers. And so if all they're doing is making phone calls and trying to secure business, they will not qualify under the executive or the administrative exemption because there's no exercise of discretion or independent judgment there. If you go down to the sales exemption, it talks about how they have to go outside. So if you go through this, you'll see that there's nowhere that they qualify for the different positions. So that is a non-exempt position. So the assembly tech, this is a non-exempt position as well. This is an hourly wage, and that's because they are blue-collar workers. They're considered laborers, blue-collar workers. So anything involving repetitive operations, a physical skill. In addition to that, you have, in production, for instance, and this is a technician in production, maintenance, construction, carpenters, electricians, mechanics, plumbers. Any sort of blue-collar worker must be paid an hourly wage. Now, is there a time when a blue-collar worker is paid a salary? Absolutely, when they are a manager. So they can qualify even though they might be a laborer if their primary duty is more of a administrative role where they have subordinates, they can hire and fire. That's when they can qualify for that exemption. But your everyday technician, assembly line technician does not qualify for that. So therefore they are non-exempt or they're hourly. And the last position is an engineer. Doesn't really talk about what type of engineer, but we'll say it's a product engineer. Oh, it does say product designs. Okay, so this employee will work on new product design. So they are a product engineer. And a product engineer can actually fall under, if you look at the different exemptions, you can find that one under a learned professional. Let's see, the knowledge of science or learning. Okay, or the creative professional as well. They're, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. So they obviously are compensated at the above the $35,568, but their primary duty of work is invention. right? And so that's where they fall under. It's because they are creating those products and it's a creative professional exemption. All right. So if you have any questions on how these came about, please reach out. I want to make sure that you understand that the business development manager, the manufacturing manager, and the engineer are all salary. They all are exempt. And then the administrative assistant, the salesperson, and the assembly line technician, they are all hourly. Now, the second part of the second part of the assignment was for you to go into detail as to why each qualified for the exemption. So if you didn't get this first part right, you'll probably miss some points on the second part as well. So hopefully you did all right, but reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much.